friends, welcome back to Elliant Counseling Services and All Neuro Pathways. We are going to continue the segment on healthy communication where we are using the speaker-listener technique. I will be listening to Andrea today on her complaint around me showing up late to our lunch date, and Carson is the therapist helping to facilitate the communication skills today.
So we have already gone over the speaker listener and the skills that we're going to be using, so make sure you watch our last video to have that information, but now we're going to practice. So Andrea, using our speaker listener sheet, let's start with an emotion that you can identify from our emotion sheet regarding our situation.
Okay. I feel very annoyed. Very embarrassed and unhappy.
Wonderful. Okay, so you have these emotions show up when what behavior are you observing from Linnaya?
When Linnaya is not on time to our lunch dates.
Okay, so we're using that I language so that you can identify a feeling without having a sense of defensiveness maybe show up in Linnaya that she might feel attacked.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel annoyed when we're not showing up on time for lunch dates.
Okay.
So then the next thing that you might want to use is that sheet with all the sentences on it.
Okay.
To identify the story that you tell yourself about Linnaya being late.
Mm-hmm.
When you observe she's late for the lunch date, what does that mean to you?
I feel insignificant and that I am insignificant, that I'm a disappointment, and that I'm worthless.
Okay, thank you for sharing all of that. I know that there's a lot of vulnerability in sharing those messages. And so then I'm curious, those messages show up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have something that you want to do then? Is there an action impulse when those messages show up for you?
Well, obviously I get really loud and angry
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like I want to be heard.
Yeah. So when those messages show up, you have a tendency to maybe get angry, a little bit louder,
Mm-hmm.
and then I could see how it'd be really hard to communicate with Linnaya.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, is there something that would be helpful in this situation as you and Linnaya move forward?
I think I want her to be on time, or at least maybe to give me a heads up if she is running late.
Wonderful. Okay. So then as we go through our speaker chart, that was something that you can really say in one full sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I feel annoyed when we're showing up late for lunch. These messages are showing up for me, so it'd be really helpful if we move forward. If you can give me a heads up or do your best to be on time.
Okay. Should I practice?
Go right ahead.
Okay. Linnaya, when you're late to our lunch dates, I feel very annoyed, embarrassed, and unhappy. And I believe that I am insignificant, I'm a disappointment, and that I'm worthless. And so therefore I get really loud and angry. And I hope in the future that, maybe you can give me a little bit of a heads up if you are running late.
Okay. So Linnaya, I'm curious, what's it like for you to hear this from Andrea? Was there anything that showed up for you?
I am starting to feel sad.
Yeah. How come?
Because Andrea's a good friend of mine, and as I'm looking at it and trying to show up in an objective way, I can see how my actions are sending these messages and eliciting feelings that I really feel sad about because I care about her.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm curious, as that sadness shows up, does it feel safe enough to share that with Andrea?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we can use our listener part here where we can paraphrase kind of what you heard back to Andrea. And then if it feels safe enough, right, sharing that emotion with her, that maybe it wasn't your intention and it makes you sad to hear these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Andrea, when I show up late and don't give you a heads up, and then the message that you make is that you're insignificant, that you're a disappointment, that you are worthless to me, and you feel annoyed, embarrassed, and unhappy, and you have an action impulse of getting loud and feeling very angry as though it's an injustice. And as I'm listening, I can really feel it in my stomach, and hearing how painful this is for you. I really hate that I am showing up in a way with my behaviors that I'm sending a message that you are not important to me, that you're somehow not valuable in this relationship. And I know what it feels like to be waiting and feel embarrassed, and it's an awful feeling. Your stomach just drops, or at least mine does. And I can only imagine, what that was like for you in those moments waiting for me and feeling incredibly annoyed. And, gosh, I'm just so sorry, Andrea. I acknowledge that was a difficult position to put you in, and I'm going to really work hard to organize my time better, if there's a reason why I'm going to be late, I'm going to make an effort to send you a text message and not just expect that you're going to wait for me in the future, because I do value our friendship and you're very important to me.
Well, thank you for those words.
And thank you both for your vulnerability and sharing what's showing up for you so that we can have more healthy communication.
All right, folks, thank you so much. And we hope to see you again next time.